Ospreay has been wrestling much more of a heavyweight style. He's definitely bulked up. The dude he's only getting better. He's cutting back on, at least for this current run, a lot of the acrobatics at this point, and he's wrestling a harder paced, a little bit slower style, but it's not slower in a bad way. He's having really good matches with heavyweights, and he hit a Stormbreaker on Jeff Cobb. And speaking of Jeff Cobb, we're going to be seeing Jeff Cobb versus Will Ospreay at the Ring of Honor pay-per-view. So I've always liked Will Ospreay, but I'm becoming an even bigger fan of the way Will Ospreay is. I would say maybe maturing as a wrestler, if that's a good way to put it. So now we're down to the final four here. So let me get your thoughts. Ishii versus Okada, the battle of the members of Chaos. What do you think?
Well, I think most people are, or at least just me being kind of you would think that Okada would at least make it to the finals or get to the Garden, right? You think that's probably how they would go. So I was thinking about it today in terms of who I think is going to win the tournament and what I think the finals will be. I mean, they could always do Tanahashi and Okada again. Those guys have wrestled countless times at Wrestle Kingdom and other shows. I personally think that I'd like to see something different in the finals. So, and since I just bought a Tomohiro Ishii shirt that just shipped today, by the way, I'm going to go with Ishii to get an upset win here and make it to the finals. I'm going to say that Ishii gets the win over Okada. I don't know what that means, what that would mean for the MSG show in terms of what Okada does, but I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to go with Ishii here to get the upset.
I was thinking about this a lot too, and I was talking myself in and out of an Okada versus Jay White match at the G1 show. I actually am going to hop on board the Joe train, nice, if you will, and I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to ride with Tomohiro Ishii on this too. I think Ishii upsets Okada. I think Ishii, he's been stellar. He's been consistent. He's the man. He's also 43 years old. Did you know that?
I don't think I knew that until we were watching his match with Yuji Nagata a week ago, and we were both like, he's probably like late 30s, and then it turned out he was 5 years older than we thought he was, but still going strong at that age and putting on really good matches.
Still going up, strong style. Am I right? Nice.
There you go.
So, I'm going to go. So, wow, I never would have thought that. You and I are both picking Tomohiro Ishii in to go to the finals here. It leads us to the next match, Sonata versus the king of the air guitar, Hiroshi Tanahashi. Joe, start us off.
I got to go with Tanahashi here. And I just kind of listening, like I mentioned before, listening to the commentary on his match today with Zack Sabre. They kind of put over a lot of, he had a short title. His last title run was very short. He's been wanting to wrestle at Madison Square Garden. He wants to get there, wrestle in the title match. And I think that at a minimum, I think he's going to get it to the finals of the New Japan Cup, because I think that's a good story to kind of keep telling. And depending on what direction they would go with it, whether he gets the victory or, falls just short at the end. But I think it would be best to have him in the finals. So I'm going to say that Tanahashi wins and goes on to the finals.
It seems in the New Japan Cup what the theme is, there's an underdog young guy upstart who gets a big upset. So, but they really did drive home the MSG point with Tanahashi so much that I'm going to have to go with you on this one. It wouldn't surprise me to see Sonata beat him, maybe a couple of moonsaults. That's how I pay my mortgage, by the way, with moonsaults. But I think Tanahashi wins here, and I think we'll see Tanahashi versus Ishii, and the winner go. So all right, so we're 2 for 2. So the winner going to the G1. Is this all the same night, or is it? No, it's.
I think the semifinals take place on one show, and then
Sunday or Monday.
Yeah, and the finals take place on another show. And then I want to say that the
U.S. title.
Yeah, was it Juice against Chase Owens?
Yeah, Chase Owens beat Juice in the opening round in a huge upset. So they're really they're getting behind the honorary Tongan here, Chase Owens, to take on Juice in the final. So on the final day. All right, so that gives us Ishii versus Tanahashi, with the winner challenging Jay White in Madison Square Garden, with you and I sitting second row.
So I'm gonna stick with Tanahashi. I think that's, that would be the cool story to tell. And I don't know what the deal is with him as far as how much longer he plans on wrestling, or if he really is as injured or hurt as they let on when they talk about his matches. But I think it would be a cool match to see him kind of get his rematch, I guess, against Jay White in Madison Square Garden. Tanahashi, for those who follow New Japan, I guess he's been kind of one of their top guys for a very long time. He's been the champion many, many times. I think that, it's kind of, I think it would just be cool, I guess, for him. I almost kind of feel like it would be, them kind of giving him a little bit of a reward and giving him the title shot at Madison Square Garden. So I'm going to say Tanahashi wins the New Japan Cup and faces Switchblade Jay White in 2 weeks in MSG.
That is my prediction as well. To me, I believe Hiroshi Tanahashi is the reason why New Japan Pro Wrestling survived in the 2000s to the early 2010s. He literally carried the company on his back. He had, listen, you don't get a nickname the Ace for no reason. Hiroshi Tanahashi is the ace of New Japan. Okada's there. Hiroshi Tanahashi is still the ace. He might be one of the more underrated professional wrestlers in the world today, and a lot of people compare him to John Cena as the ace of New Japan, I guess the ace of the WWE. I think Tanahashi he sells so well. You feel for him every match. He gets the crowd behind him to the point where being a babyface for so long, it's hard to do because, like the Hogan treatment, the crowd gets tired of you. The crowd is not getting tired of Tanahashi, and listening to him when he beat Zack Sabre, listening to the crowd is more on his side now than ever. So I think now is the right time to give Tanahashi his reward and put him in Madison Square Garden in the main event against Jay White. Who's going to win that match? Well, you and I will talk about that in our next week's show, or the week after, whichever it is. The ROH New Japan G1 special prediction show. But for right now, I think we both we both agree on this. We're going to see Tanahashi in Madison Square Garden, Joe.
Yeah. So I think if anybody out there is placing bets, I'd go all in on Kazuchika
Toa Henare. Yeah. But go all in on literally anybody else. But, I think it's been a good tournament. I think it's done well for a lot of guys. You got a lot of the new guys, some experience in the tournament format. Because, not for nothing, the G1 is right around the corner. We're like, 4 months away, 3 or 4 months away?
Yeah, I think it's like the July-August timeframe, right?
Yeah, and it is the most grueling tournament, the most grueling schedule of any schedule ever. It's insane what they do. So I love the New Japan Cup. World Tag League. I love the idea of the tournaments. I'm such a mark for the tournaments. I know that WWE hates them, and they don't, or the King of the Ring at least they do. But like the Dusty Classic and things like that, it just every match feels like it means more because it's the one time in professional wrestling, especially in the WWE, when wins and losses matter. So there's more of an onus to actually get a victory in those matches. And I think it just makes for such a better watch, and you get more invested in that.
Yeah, and it's this year's New Japan Cup, I think it just, at least in my mind, when I'm thinking about trying to figure out who's going to win, I think, the fact that the title shot is happening at this particular show, that is kind of a special deal for ROH and New Japan. I know in years past, right, it's still, the winner still gets a title shot, but it was kind of at different shows in Japan. So they had the opportunity to maybe put somebody into that spot that hadn't been there before or as much in recent years, right? So last year, I think Zack Sabre won the New Japan Cup. The year before that, I believe it was, oh gosh, I just had it in my head. It was Shibata, that's right. Yep. So guys like that who, they are worthy of title shots, but it's not the same old guys like the Tanahashi, the Naito, and Okada, depending on who the champion was and stuff like that. But this year, given that it's on this show, WrestleMania weekend in New York City and all these things, I think that should, potentially play a factor in terms of who wins. So that's why I would kind of lean more towards Tanahashi or Okada being the guy that comes away as the cup winner. So but I think it's really cool that they're doing this. They put a lot of guys in the tournament, like you said. The winner getting a title shot. I think people were surprised that Jay White won the title earlier this year.
Do you know who won the cup in 2006?
Well, I have it up in front of me, so I can just go look. Let's see here.
Giant Bernard.
That's right, man. The A Train.
The big sleazy. And if you look at the names of the people who won the cup, Tanahashi, Giant Bernard, Nakamura, Tanahashi, Goto, Shibata, Goto, Yuji Nagata, real big names. And listen, in Japan, it's a little bit different. If you win a tournament like this, it means something. It's a status symbol, and all accolades in Japan, they're talked about a little bit more. So I'm looking forward to seeing these. The matches should be fantastic. They had a great field, and I'm looking forward to seeing what goes on from here. I'm also looking forward to seeing a lot of I love we're spending a lot of time on this, but I love how they make matches based upon the booking decisions of the tournament. Like Chase Owens beat Juice, as we said. So immediately right there, you have a challenger and a worthy challenger. It tells a good story, So you lose in that, and there's a reason for your loss and a reason for your win. And I think I don't know. I like the booking. They do the same thing in the G1. When the never openweight title holder loses, they always have that match after the G1, so it's always something to look forward to. New Japan seems like they do a very good job at looking ahead and not just looking for week to week like the WWE seems like they're doing right now, and they're flip-flopping things. Speaking of flip-flopping things and talking about the WWE, before we wrap up here...
We're going to talk about Matt Riddle?
Bro?
Yeah, you said flip-flops, right?
Oh, bro. I'm just going to say bro. It was announced that Baron Corbin was Kurt Angle's farewell retirement match opponent at WrestleMania this year. I could not think of a worse opponent for Kurt Angle personally at a WrestleMania. However, the problem is, and with all due respect to Kurt Angle and everything he's done, he is not the same Kurt Angle we know of even 4 or 5 years ago. He doesn't move very well in the ring. So to me, in a farewell match, you'd probably need somebody that can move for him and bump for him, right?
You would think so. These last couple weeks, he's been, since he announced that he was going to be retiring and leaving, he's fought Apollo Crews and Chad Gable, which are guys that are young and they can move around a lot. So yes, I think you'd want to have somebody in the ring with him that can kind of do those types of selling and some high spots to kind of make the match entertaining, because he, listen, I have no idea what kind of injuries he's dealing with, but he just looks very, banged up or broken down. Yeah. It just for what, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. He could be dealing with current injuries. It could just be years of bumps and bruises, whatever it might be, but he doesn't look,
especially like on German suplexes, he can't pop his hips. It's tough for him to get up off the mat sometimes. And he's not a super duper old guy. But so if you're booking it, WrestleMania, New York. All right, first of all, it's not in New York City. Can they stop calling it New York City? It kind of drives me crazy, Joe. Where is it?
I know, I understand. It's in New Jersey at MetLife Stadium. So I guess it's like East Rutherford or something.
Yeah, nice. East Rutherford. That's a good reference. You're booking it, Kurt Angle, his last match ever. Who's his opponent, Joe?
Well, there's only 2 guys I really came up with, and one of them really now is no longer an option. The 2 guys that I came up with that I thought would be good, or at least entertaining, would be Cena, just because there's some history there with Cena's first match on SmackDown being against Kurt Angle, and they've wrestled each other several times back in that era. Cena, of course, is very part-time these days, so I think having him come back and maybe work like a 10-minute match with Kurt Angle at WrestleMania wouldn't be a terrible thing. It would at least bring some attention to it. The only other person that I thought of that would have been decent, and now he's booked another match, would have been maybe Rey Mysterio, because I know they worked with each other a decent